Aloha, folks, and welcome to this latest edition of Five Questions. It is a series of questions and responses that appears here on the morning show, the Rick Hamada program on KHVH, and also on the homepage of HawaiiReporter.com. Log on every day and check in every day. Today it's a pleasure to spend some time chatting with a gentleman who has served this state and this country admirably. And I know you're very familiar with General Bob Lee, and he's our guest today. And I always still love to call you General if you don't mind, and thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure, Rick, and good to be with you again.
Thank you so much. You know, we're going to start with question number one, and it's just a way to get to know you a little bit better because we're all familiar with you via your service. But would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself, General, about your childhood maybe, schools, and just basic background?
Sure. Rick, I'm just a local boy that grew up here in the islands. I'm a public school product. McKinley High School, class of 1966. Ooh, that's such a long time ago. And the University of Hawaii. Mm-hmm. And so I got my start in the technical side as an engineer, and got retrained by the Navy as a nuclear engineer and did refueling and overhauls of nuclear submarines at Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard for 27 years before the military side took hold. Prior to that, I was just an engineer trying to do my job and fix nuclear submarines and be a weekend warrior part-time.
Isn't that something? When we talk about nuclear engineering, that's quite a to try and wrap our heads around a little bit. What entails nuclear engineering?
Well, I think the first thing that comes top of mind is that all the folks that are in that industry, and in particular at Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard in the state, are very well trained, and top of mind is to make sure the safety of everything they do is paramount. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad to say that even after I've left Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard, but I've kept tabs on how they do business, they're still doing their job in an excellent manner. Very safe while keeping these nuclear submarines operational for national defense.
Thank you very much for that. And we'll go to question number two. You are currently the campaign manager for Governor Linda Lingle, who is seeking a U.S. Senate seat here in the upcoming election in 2012. We're wondering what qualities, General, do you see in her that compels you to want to serve in this new role?
Yes. Well, first of all, I did an absolutely poor job in retirement. It was very short, and so when Governor Lingle decided to come out of retirement and run for the open United States Senate seat next year, she asked a few of us that served on her cabinet to join her team. And I agreed because in my years of working for Governor Lingle, and I know she's part of the Republican Party, but I can tell you that upon the election as governor, the political side was very minimized. She took to heart that she was governor of all the people in the state of Hawaii. So it was people first and keeping promises made to the people. She's genuine. And so when she asked me for help, I said, "Okay, Governor, let's go."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, reminding folks that serving as a state Adjutant General, cabinet level position with the governor, and was that was from the beginning, was it not, General?
Yes. Yeah. I was fortunate to have 8 years with Governor Lingle.
When you reflect back on that, on your time of service, were there any highlights that you'd like to share with us where your service there embodied just what you were hoping to accomplish? And conversely, was there a time where you found there was great challenge and some introspection really kind of came into play?
Sure. I think top priority is to keep the citizens in this state safe from natural disasters and even some potential man-made disasters. You know, we were all concerned with the terrorism and which resulted from the September 11th attacks in 2001. And while working on that main line, I think what I encountered with Governor Lingle as governor, that even today fate that no other administration faced was just the enormity of the call-up of our Guard and Reserve soldiers and also our troops based in the state of Hawaii for service in Iraq and Afghanistan. Recently they pulled out the last troops in Iraq, and we wind down in Afghanistan. So in one respect, I'm happy that the current administration and my successor will not have to deal with the volume of troops being mobilized from the state of Hawaii. But that said, I'm just absolutely proud of our citizen soldiers because they answered the call each and every time, even during the repeat times. And many people thought, the Guard will be decimated, people will be leaving in droves, but that was not the case. We certainly have some true patriots that continue to serve. And on the last rotation, we had the highest number of combat veterans going back to Iraq, and I think that says a lot.
That was a remarkable time. I remember that you and I spent time on the air, and it was weighing heavy on a lot of folks that our local citizens were putting on the uniform and answering the call as you described. And I remember poignantly when we would talk about deployment days and just what the impact was on the nuclear family.
Sure.
When the mom or the dad was sent off.
And sometimes both, mom and dad.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We're talking with General Bob Lee, who, of course, a former state adjutant general, and now heading up the campaign for former Governor Linda Lingle on this edition of 5 Questions. You alluded to question number 3 already in regard to the departure of most U.S. troops from Iraq. What do you see, General, with this departure for the future, not only for the U.S. troops as they continue on with their professional lives, but how about Iraq itself having served time there too?
Sure. I think history will look at this period of time much differently, and I'm talking probably 10, 20, even 30 years down the line when we have succeeding generations of Iraqis that would look back. And I would think that these Iraqi citizens, just like our Korean allies during the Korean War, would be very grateful to the Americans that came over and served in their country to give them the freedom that was really non-existent in the Middle East. I know we have the Arab Spring recently, but the start of democracy in Iraq is really due to the sacrifices of the United States troops there.
Yeah, amen to that. Let's go to question number 4, if you don't mind, and this has to do with some geopolitical developments. What insight can you provide with the recent passing of Kim Jong-il and what the region of North Korea and South Korea, for that matter, means to national security and our security here at home?
Sure, Rick. North Korea will always bear watching, and that our forces need to be on constant alert and be ready to respond to deter aggressive action. Because if you look around the world, in Europe and even in the continental United States, the economic engine for America and the world is really in the Asia-Pacific region. And you can't have this robustness in the economies of the Asia-Pacific region unless you have a semblance of security and the ability to have free commerce. And, of course, North Korea, at a moment's notice, can change that equation with their miscalculations. So I think everyone is watching very closely how the transition of power occurs with the death of Kim Jong-il. But more importantly, what is the long-range future for North Korea? Surely they can't continue like that forever, although we've said that for many years now. Eventually, the people there will see the big difference, especially between North Korea and South Korea. And what's important is how do we maintain this stability and continued economic vitality for the Asia-Pacific region.
Was there and just as we're chatting about this, was there at any time serving as our Adjutant General that we were literally in the crosshairs of North Korea? Do they really have the capabilities of launching a missile in our direction and reaching Hawaii shores?
Well, I've been asked on numerous occasions to assure the public in the state of Hawaii, citizens and residents alike, and I would like to continue to do so today, even in retirement. I really think we give the North Koreans too much credit for their so-called ability to launch missiles at far distances. We need to test and practice our systems in order to get it right, and so we're giving the North Koreans credit for just a couple of shots that did not fulfill their missions and stop way short of their intended areas. Mm-hmm. And in fact, it was so short that, you could easily say, maybe the target might have been Hawaii, maybe Alaska, right, maybe somewhere else, but it just didn't work that well. But then also, I want to assure the public that our American defense systems for Hawaii and the west coast of the United States is very capable, and should by luck a North Korean missile make it this far, our defenses would have been more than capable of taking it out.
Yeah, love barking sands.
Yeah. Well, and it's just that they haven't even done a test that that has proved that it's can even reach halfway.
Yeah. We thank you for that very much. Again, as we head off to question number 5, and we're talking with General Bob Lee, former State Adjutant General and campaign manager now for Governor Linda Lingle and her run for the U.S. Senate. Now, as a citizen and perhaps even as a campaign manager, what do you view as the greatest challenges facing our state today, and make that also in the near future? And if Governor Lingle is successful in her bid for the U.S. Senate, what impact would that event have on us here in Hawaii?
Okay. I think I'd like to roll up the answer addressing the citizens of the state of Hawaii and all Americans, because a senator surely serves the state of Hawaii, but is prominent in many national issues. And I guess the part that I'm confident in is that Governor Lingle and other former governors in the United States Senate will be able to change the climate that's occurring right now. Nothing happens, too much bickering and partisanship, and I think our elected officials have lost sight of what's good for our country. And I think Governor Lingle can act in a bipartisan manner to get solutions, because she's done that as the governor for this state.
It's a pretty exciting time, is it not? And how do you find the role as campaign manager? Is this can you describe your feelings as you're going through this process?
Well, this is certainly very new to me, so I'm asking a lot of questions for folks that have done this for a while, like why are we doing this? This doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
So I think I'm applying a lot more common sense as far as how we approach this campaign, and I hope I'm very helpful to Governor Lingle in her endeavors as being kind of the strategic person to look at how the campaign, to design the campaign and to see how the campaign is going, so that we can be successful in November of 2012.
Very nicely done. The most important question I didn't even get to, that is, how's your putting?
Well, Rick, I got to admit, during my short retirement, my golf game was getting better.
Okay.
But I can see it going downhill heading toward November 2012.
Well, if the Mayans are correct, it doesn't all matter anyway. So,
I truly hope they're wrong.
So do I. Boy, it sure is nice getting caught up with you, General. Thank you so much for taking the time with us, and we wish you all the best and everything, and, of course, a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year.
The same to you and your family, Rick.
Thanks so much. Take care. Aloha.
Okay.
Bye now.